policing the police every single day. And doing what the Charlotte County Sun newspaper and local TV stations won't do every single day.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I reported for COPWATCH for 8 years, and now running for Charlotte County Sheriff. This is a long version of this video. This is on making a rebuttal to Charlotte County Sheriff's video that he just posted on his Facebook page. We also believe these are illegal campaign commercials because as you see here, it says, you know, what we do to hire people, and this is bullshit. This far surpasses what you do to hire people. Why would somebody come here when you actually say that you're going to do something internal affairs? That's kind of a turnoff. And the internal affairs part of this bullshit is bullshit because there again, it is the police investigating themselves. It's stupid. That's why if you vote for Charlotte County Sheriff, sheets4sheriff.com, all that will change. As you can see, my platform, huge changes. And again, I think because of Black Lives Matter, excuse me, well, I don't know what's going on. And my platform, that's why he's coming out with this shit. But, you know, 8 years too late, you know, he's saying that when we hire people, we're going to do psych tests and extreme background tests, and we're going to make sure we don't get any racist. 8 years too late, dude. You already did that. Then we're going to teach them how to do you know, less than lethal. He has killed more people illegally through excessive force on the streets than any of our other sheriffs in history, and in the jail, by the way. Goes straight to excessive force. He supposedly said with an old guy, 75 years old guy at McDonald's, that we tried the beanbags. Bullshit, man. On a 75-year-old guy, then either your people suck at shooting because those fuckers hurt, especially when you're 75 years old. So he's giving all this shit. We teach less than lethal, and you know, they're bragging about the taser. The taser, I don't know if you know this. The taser, you weren't meant to be electrocuted. God made you not to be electrocuted. In fact, the power that they're using in the taser is not even legal to use on an electric fence if you have one for your cows or whatever. It's outrageous. All right, so the taser literally is killing people. So, yeah, taser is bullshit. Pepper spray better. You know, I don't know, maybe even rubber bullets, I don't know. But like I said, 8 years too late. They've executed tons of people on the street. They do not de-escalate. They just fucking shoot first, ask questions later. And then excessive force in the jail, man. They're illegally killing people there through excessive force, strapping them down to a fucking chair, seriously, and then spraying them and just leaving them there. Wow. And then killing with you know, with the health care that they're not that they should be getting and they're not giving. Once you kidnap somebody, you take over their. It's almost like socialism. They do get free health care, but not at the Charlotte County Sheriff's Jail. So like I said there again, you know, that's why he votes Sheets for Sheriff. And then, like I said, he gets into internal affairs here near the end. And that is bullshit. That's like having the mafia investigate the mafia. We really do look at that. Like I said, that's why this is bullshit. This is not a hiring commercial. Why would you put that in with hiring? Because that's going to turn them off. Okay? So anyways, he's talking about we really do internal investigations. Really, there's so much shit that you guys have done over the years with your deputies. You did not charge them with the crime that they should have. They should have been arrested. You just let them quit. Let them retire. You fired them. No, you know, you didn't take their badge. Just on and on. So I'm going to attach this disgusting propaganda video. And I already did a TikTok video, but that's 1 minute. You just can't say it in time. And like I said, just go to Sheets for Sheriff, sheets4sheriff.com. You'll see my platform, body cameras, all tickets and arrests must have audio and video or it's null and void. I mean, just end the policing for profit. All of it is here. everything that we want. And he even made a comment in an interview with Wink News where there's only a certain demographic of people that don't like me. Are you fucking nuts? Look at this. I'm white, and I know a shitload of white people that are sick of your fucking illegal, unconstitutional policing for profit and police state. It is nuts. It is out of control. If you want freedom, vote sheets4sheriff.com. And remember what our founding father said, take a goddamn country back, and that's what I'm trying to do. Apparently, reporting on all of his corruption doesn't work. You actually have to get elected and change it from the inside.
In these days, there are a lot of questions about how officers are hired at agencies and how they are trained. This video is intended to detail how a Charlotte County Sheriff's Office deputy is hired and what they must do to fully be trained in our office. It is not an easy undertaking, and each step is meant to determine if the deputy is the right fit for our agency and our community. From the application process and background check through certification and continuing education, here is a brief synopsis of what it takes to be a CCSO deputy. Let's begin. When someone applies for the Sheriff's Office, they must go through a background investigation. The purpose of the background investigation
is to ensure that an applicant meets job-relevant criteria for selection and is of good moral character. We look for candidates that respect the rights of others, are without bias towards race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, or disability, familiar status, or nationality. And we're looking for honest, fair, professional, and people with high integrity. We predict future behavior by documenting past conduct. This is done through various records checks and databases. We do fingerprinting, drug testing, interviews with the applicant, their family, friends, references, and neighbors.
We check tattoos, social media, and other online sites and databases for any discriminatory information. We have a polygraph examination done on the applicant by a certified polygraph examiner to look for untruthfulness and any discrepancies. We have a psychological screening examination done by a certified licensed psychologist, which consists of a battery of tests along with an interview with the psychologist. We have a physical abilities test to ensure the physical standards of the job can be performed by the applicant. For prior law enforcement and detention, we check each applicant's personal file at prior agencies. Our focus is on their internal affairs file, performance evaluations, and any complaints made against the applicant. We also check the National Decertification Institute for any prior law enforcement decertifications around the country.
For prior military applicants, we check their DD-214, their military records, provost marshal's offices from all military installations that they were assigned. Once this testing and checks have been completed, a full background summary report is forwarded to the commanders for review. Those accepted will be invited to the Majors Board, where the commanders will question the applicant about their background, education, qualifications for the position, any personal prejudices, personal philosophies, and personal attributes. After the interview, the sheriff reviews everything for his final determination to see if he wants to hire someone or not.
Once I determine the applicant will be a part of the CCSO team, they are given training in a wide range of subjects appropriate for this job. For this, our training unit takes over.
Thank you, Sheriff. All new deputies must hold a Florida law enforcement or detention certification. This happens through completing a curriculum at an accredited police training institute in Florida, then passing the Florida law enforcement or detention state exam. Once the applicant is certified in Florida and accepted as an employee at the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, they come to the training unit. We go over use of force again, including baton, taser, OC spray, handgun, and driving tactics, as well as all the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office policies and procedures that go with these areas. Then the new deputies go through the police training officer or detention training officer programs. This training is completed over a 15-week period that provides our deputies a minimum of 480 hours of hands-on field training with a training officer prior to them being released on their own. Upon completion of the PTO or DTO program, each deputy is required to complete a neighborhood portfolio exercise, or an NPE. This presentation, researched by the new deputy, showcases the community resources, community groups, demography, geography, crime patterns, and problem-solving efforts in their soon-to-be assigned areas of patrol. The NPE is presented to the upper command staff to provide them with information on what that member has learned thus far and how they can make a difference in their community.
Although all training is very important, I believe the training that most impacts our community is the continuing education every CCSO deputy must complete. These include classes and certifications in the following areas.
CPR and AED, or Automated External Defibrillator. All Charlotte County Sheriff's Office members are trained, certified, and equipped with the knowledge of life-saving skills for adults, children, and infants. Customer service. This includes the use of verbal de-escalation that gives our members additional tactics to utilize in place of use of force. It also reminds our members that we are public figures that are tasked with serving our community and keeping them safe. Customer service is a reminder that building a rapport with our community can lead to more peaceful outcomes in the majority of our encounters.
Bias-based policing. This training explains that bias policing in law enforcement is completely unacceptable. It reminds our staff that we are tasked with protecting the rights of all people regardless of race, color, ethnicity, sex, sexual orientation, physical handicap, religion, or other beliefs. Crisis Intervention Team Training, CIT. Sheriff PRUMMELL has made it mandatory that every certified member of the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office complete this 40-hour training in conjunction with Charlotte Behavioral Health Center. This training provides our members on how to react appropriately to situations involving mental illness, drugs, alcohol, or developmental disabilities. It also provides our members with the local resources that we can provide to our community when responding to a person that may be in crisis. Mental health. This training follows along with crisis intervention training and is mandatory for all certified members when they are initially hired and on an annual basis. This training entails recognition and responses to a person they encounter that may be in a crisis due to mental illness or may be impaired by drugs or alcohol. This training goes over commonly seen mental illnesses in our community, signs and symptoms of overdose, and commonly seen narcotics, suicide prevention, postvention, and community resources. Legal updates. We complete mandatory training on any statute or case law updates that are implemented and affect our community.
Defensive tactics and use of force training. This training is done throughout the year with every member and includes instruction and live practice on proper hands-on techniques to overcome violent resistance or to protect themselves or others from assault or injury in the event verbal communication is unsuccessful. Other uses of force training include the taser, baton, oleoresin capsicum, and the less lethal shotgun. The taser is designated as a less lethal weapon. Members are trained and certified in the use and deployment of the taser as well as completing real-life tactical scenarios. The baton, another less lethal option in which our members receive training and certification for the proper use and display of the baton, including its use during escorts of non-compliant subjects. Members also complete real-life tactical scenarios during their training throughout the year. Oleoresin capsicum, or OC, is an organically based, less lethal aerosol option that causes no permanent after effects. Members are trained and certified in the proper use, carry, and deployment of OC, as well as using it in a real-life tactical scenario. The less lethal shotgun. Supervisors and members that are required to carry this less lethal option are trained and certified on proper use, carry, and deployment of the drag-stabilized beanbag round that it fires. This also includes showing proficiency on the deployment of the weapon. Weapons qualifications. Every member completes handgun, rifle, and shotgun qualifications annually. We also conduct training throughout the year on weapons drills, tactical scenarios, and effectively transitioning between verbal de-escalation, less lethal options, and deadly force. Every member must show proficiency in the use and carry of each weapon prior to them being allowed to carry it. I want to note that in all training scenarios, deputies must first implement the use of verbal de-escalation skills prior to using any less lethal or other uses of force options for that scenario.
In addition to all of this, the state of Florida also requires that each deputy complete the Florida Department of Law Enforcement online courses. These include
Autism Spectrum Disorder, ASD, and interviews. This provides training on how to interview citizens with autism who could be victims, suspects, or defendants. Diabetic emergency and officer response. This will provide the student with ways to be prepared, recognize, and handle someone in a diabetic emergency. Stress management and mental health. This provides awareness, prevention, and mitigation, in addition to treatment information for critical incident stress and post-traumatic stress disorder. Discriminatory profiling and professional traffic stops. Our members receive training on human diversity as well as understand the meaning of discriminatory profiling in relation to citizen interaction and traffic stops. This training established a protocol for using good interpersonal skills when interacting with citizens and making traffic stops.
As you can see, training is a very important step, not only before a deputy is released from training, but for each current member to keep up to date with procedures and proficiencies in verbal de-escalation and levels of resistance. As you know, our office is accredited through national and local accreditation commissions. But you might ask, what does that mean for our community?
Our community wants all their law enforcement agencies to be accredited. This means an agency is certified in the best practices by an independent reviewing authority. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office holds several accreditations by the following associations. Law Enforcement and Communications Dispatch hold accreditation through the National Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, otherwise known as COLLIER. Detention is accredited through the Florida Corrections Accreditation Commission, known as FCAC. Detention also has state inspections and federal mandated audits as well, including compliance with Florida Model Jail Standards and Prison Rape Elimination Act, PREA.
So why should an agency seek accreditation? Well, today's organizations operate in an environment with complex and dynamic challenges. They could include fluctuating crime rates, legal decisions, technology considerations, and a range of other issues. Accreditation standards provides a strategy to assist law enforcement agency to meet these challenges and demonstrate professional excellence. Accrediting bodies assist agencies by providing best practices, management and administrative models for reviews, and analysis models for data-driven decision and allocation of resources. Most importantly, accreditation increases transparency and confidence in the organization and community by administering internationally accepted standards. Accreditation promotes safer communities and provides a system that is fair and impartial and ensures adequate training and equipment is provided by the agency and increases professionalism, excellence, competence, and pride. CCSO members are required to sign off on agency policies and procedures, ensuring knowledge and accountability at every level within our agency.
You may ask which members are affected by accreditation standards. All CCSO members, volunteers, and even outside vendors are guided by hundreds of standards and departmental inspections. These inspections are conducted by supervisors and/or professional compliance unit members to ensure our agency meets compliance with these standards.
Now let's talk about the standards facing law enforcement organizations today, specifically bias policing and uses of force. Bias policing is the application of police authority based on a common trait of a group. All law enforcement agencies should have a policy of prohibition against bias-based policing, including initial training and annual training for personnel.
We have bias-based policing training throughout the year, which reminds our members that we are tasked with protecting the rights of all people.
Use of force in the accreditation world relates to the authorization, proper application, documentation review, and analysis of the use of force by agency personnel. Policies and procedures and training on the use of force and officer discretion shall be implemented by every agency. A community rightfully expects that its law enforcement agency will issue weapons only to those authorized agency members, and that weapons and tactics are only utilized in conformance with sound policies, procedures, and training.
We have continuous training on all uses of force, which emphasizes the use of verbal de-escalation and compliance first, prior to using any less lethal or other force option.
Finally, accreditation builds better relationships with the community. The accreditation process molds the agency and its members to follow best practices. Always be professional and hold yourself and others to higher standards of conduct, with a strong focus on our core values of integrity, professionalism, and trust. It spotlights several areas of our community involvement, whether through our youth programs associated with school resource officers, adult community involvement through Citizens Police Academy, or our community policing, which includes neighborhood watch programs and an annual survey of attendees at community meetings.
It is unfortunate, but as humans, we all make mistakes. Most we can correct and become better for those lessons learned. I expect the best out of our deputies, but like any other industry, now and then we may have those that do not live up to our core values. This is unacceptable. Our profession demands that we cannot have bad apples. I will not stand for it. If an employee is believed to have violated the law or policy, we have a system in place to police ourselves, the Internal Affairs Unit.
As the Chief Law Enforcement Officer in Charlotte County, the Sheriff has the responsibility to uphold the integrity of all law enforcement officers within his jurisdictional boundaries. Sheriff PRUMMELL also sits on the Criminal Justice Standards and Training Commission, who reviews and administers appropriate administrative sanctions in instances when an officer is found in violation of established training and commission standards. This commission has the authority to suspend or revoke an officer's Florida law enforcement certification governed under Section 943 of Florida statutes.
In Charlotte County, if a citizen perceives they have been wronged by a member of the Sheriff's Office, there are several ways for them to report it, including talking to the supervisor, going to the CCSO website, filling out a citizen complaint form at any of the district offices, which will be forwarded to Internal Affairs, or even calling or emailing Internal Affairs directly with their concern.
Internal Affairs takes every complaint seriously and works with the citizen to resolve the issue. All complaints are documented and maintained within the Sheriff's Office. You may be thinking, why do you investigate your own complaints? Well, it's quite simple. Florida Statute 112 mandates law enforcement agencies investigate complaints against their agency's members and have a system in place for unbiased investigation into all complaints, as well as a system of disciplinary action for sustained complaints. The way investigations are conducted are also dictated by this very same statute.
But CCSO goes further than those minimum requirements. In fact, CCSO will investigate complaints from citizens who wish to remain anonymous. And when the investigation is completed, the Sheriff's Office holds a preponderance of evidence as the burden of proof required to determine whether the complaint is sustained or not sustained. Preponderance of evidence is defined as when the evidence, which as a whole shows the fact sought to be proved, is more probable than not.
So when an investigation is concluded, the entire investigation goes to the sheriff, who will impose discipline in accordance with his General Order 3.50. But Internal Affairs goes beyond responding to investigations.
All uses of force, after being reviewed by supervisors, are also reviewed by the Internal Affairs and the Training Unit, with the intent to better train our deputies for the future.
Internal Affairs reports annually about uses of force, breaking down how force was used, when it was used, who was involved, and who the force was used on. That takes me to the Internal Affairs Annual Bias-Based Policing Report. This report takes all uses of force, traffic stops, complaints, arrests, and forfeiture cases, breaks them down by demographics, and compares it to the current population demographic of Charlotte County. This past year, 2019, a review of the overall data concluded that there were no indications of trends relating to bias-based policing among members of the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office.
In addition to all of these checks and balances, the Internal Affairs Unit also performs an early warning analysis for each member of the Sheriff's Office twice a year. This early warning program is designed to identify employees who are involved in multiple incidents involving discipline, uses of force, substandard performance, overuse of sick time, and/or allegations of misconduct. The Sheriff's Office recognizes that employees encounter various situations that can be stressful and/or traumatic. Over time, this could affect an officer's mental health or lead to underlying problems. If left unchecked, this can lead to additional negative behavior that affects all of us. So it's in the best interest of our community to identify those employees who may be experiencing problems and provide them with additional training, counseling, or ultimately modify their behavior through corrective or punitive action.
Internal Affairs also visits squad roll calls and presents topics dealing with community relations to remind all deputies of the importance of making a positive impact in Charlotte County.
As you can see, we take a lot of time and effort training and maintaining each and every deputy who serves our Charlotte County community. You have seen and heard about our strict guidelines for hiring, the importance of training, and the checks and balances through accreditation and internal affairs that keep our community safe. It is our mission at the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office to serve our community with integrity, professionalism, and trust, so we can remain one of the safest and most enjoyable places to live. Our community means everything to us, and it is our pledge to the community to treat everyone with courtesy, respect, dignity, and compassion.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.